Good evening. I'm Chief Wayne Scott, and I want to welcome you to the 2017 Police Citizens Awards Banquet hosted by the Guilford Merchants Association and the Greensboro Police Department. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the many remarkable people, some in uniform, others not, who've helped make Greensboro safe during the last 12 months. Each year, their acts of bravery, dedication, and compassion continue to amaze and inspire me. After you hear their stories, I think you'll agree that this city is truly blessed to have some of the most caring people within its borders. Before we formally begin the ceremony, I'd like to thank our friends at the Guilford Merchants Association this evening. For without their efforts, this evening definitely would not be possible. The hard work they make, the hard work that they spend to make this event enjoyable and affordable to both our officers and our citizens are greatly appreciated. I thank you and the business organizations for sponsoring this banquet. I will now ask everyone if you'll please join me in standing for the presentation of our colors by the Greensboro Police Honor Guard and the performance of our national anthem being sang tonight by Sergeant Mike Overman and Detective Eric Early. It is the protocol of the Greensboro Police Department that members of our agency place their right hand over their heart at the order to present arms for the playing of the national anthem. We would be honored if you would join in doing the same for us.
Honor guard, shoulder, arms. Forward, march. Detail, off. Present, arms. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Order, arms. Flags, post. One step forward, march. Right face. Forward, march.
Thank you. Please be seated. You know what? I actually think that was good enough for another round of applause. Those guys do an awesome job. We are so excited to come together as a community to celebrate the accomplishments of our officers, our employees, our business, and members of the public who've done so much to make our great city safer tonight. We're especially honored to have among us some special guests. So I have a whole list, bear with me. What I'm going to ask to do is I will name these folks and ask them to stand up, and we will give them a round of applause. They'll sit down. I'll go to the next one. We're very pleased to have our Honorable Mayor, Nancy Vaughn, with us tonight. Thank you, Mayor. Council members Abzu Wader, Hightower, and Tony Wilkins. Our city manager, Mr. Jim Westmoreland. Our GMA representatives, our GMA chairman, Rhonda Joyce, and First Point Senior Vice President Bill Howard. Thank you, guys. My lovely family to the left over here, I won't even make them just wave. There we go. They are my rock. They are my rock. At one of our head tables, we have former GPD employee and part of our family, Miss Judy Brenner. Judy's here with us too, who's a longtime supporter. Thank you, Judy. We also have a group of our good friends from Crime Stoppers. We have a Crime Stoppers table, I believe, here somewhere. Thank you guys for being here. Excellent, thank you. We have our partners from the Child Response Initiative, a program we're very proud of here in Greensboro. Thank you. Members of the Greensboro Police Foundation, who was an integral part of us being here. Thank you. I'm going to ask these two tables to stand up because they are truly the partners in public safety. Greensboro Fire and Metro 911 both have a table there. Thank you, guys. And the last group, and you may see we have a lot of our retired GPD, both sworn and non-sworn folks here, and I really appreciate they come back to support us, so thank you. At this point in time, I want to ask our mayor to step up. She has a few words to help us begin tonight.
Good evening. It is my pleasure on behalf of the Greensboro City Council and the Greensboro City to be here this evening and to share these wonderful awards. It truly is a partnership between the community and the police department. And I want to let you know that we are fully aware of everything, the challenges that you have that are going on in your lives and in policing in general. And we know that to be a police officer, it's not just the officer, it's the entire family. And we want to thank the families that are here today for the support that you show your officers and that you show the city of Greensboro. And we want you to know that we are going to show you the same support also. Thank you.
This is the third banquet that we are actually missing two very important parts of the GPD family. Both the Taylor and Winslow family, that both have members that were fallen officers, part of the GPD family. I'm saddened to tell you that both of those families were not able to join us tonight, but we felt it was important that we mention that. Both Mr. Winslow and Mr. Taylor have lost the battle to cancer in the past years, but both of their wives are still part of our family. They're just not able to be here tonight, so we want to wish them the best, and hopefully they'll be with us soon. Allow me to introduce an individual who's going to help us get all started tonight. This is a man who's passionate about the future of our young people. He is the site coordinator for the African American Male Initiative at Smith High School. He is one of our Greensboro Police Department chaplains who dedicates his time quite often. And he is my friend. Mr. Cedric Parker is going to come up and do the invocation for us. Cedric.
Good evening. Let us pray. Eternal God of heaven, we assemble here this evening to acknowledge and to remember those who have committed and dedicated their lives to public service. We invite your presence to abide with us during our time of fellowship and celebration. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, the teacher says that there's a season for everything under the sun, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time for war and a time for peace. Touch every heart in this room tonight. Heal the hearts that are still broken. Strengthen the hearts that are still fearful, and imprison the hearts of unforgiveness. Give us a new heart of joy, love, and mercy for all of your children. We offer this prayer in your great name. Amen.
Thank you, Cedric. Please enjoy your meal. We will be starting with the awards shortly, and we'll let you continue with your meal while we're doing that. So thank you very much. Please continue to enjoy your meal as we begin the award presentation. But if you can, return to your seats, please. Thank you. Please let me start by introducing our MC for the evening. Definitely no stranger to this event or to us. Please join me in a warm welcome for Fox 8's anchor, a very dear friend of the Greensboro Police Department, Ms. Cindy Farmer. This is Cindy's 5th year with us. She's going to be a pro now.
I don't know about that. Wow, good evening. It is so wonderful to be here with everyone tonight. I look out and I see so many familiar faces. You know, you truly are the definition of community. From the police officers in uniform, in plain clothes, to the firefighters, the Guilford Metro 911 operators, to the spouses, to the citizens, the business owners. You are what makes our city so great. So I hope you realize that. This is going to be such an awesome evening. The stories behind the stories that make our city the bright spot that it is in the state of North Carolina. And we have such a wonderful partnership with GMA. And so we'd like GMA Board Chair, Rhonda Joyce, I've known Rhonda for years and years, to join us on stage for the awards. And joining her will be GMA First Point Senior Vice President, Bill Howard. She's an awesome golfer, by the way, in case you're wondering. The Guilford Merchants Association and the Greensboro Police Department have had this really unique and wonderful relationship that goes back decades. GMA recognizes the need to stand side by side with the police, working to reduce crime in our community. GMA is extremely proud to offer 2 awards to deserving officers this year and 1 award to a remarkable business. Each officer's award, by the way, comes with a $250 cash gift. The Distinguished Service Award honors sworn officers who've truly gone above and beyond their duties. Sergeant Lynn Wright, will you please join us on stage? As she comes to stage, I'll tell you a little bit about her. At the time she was nominated for this award, then Detective Lynn Wright was a member of the Family Victims Unit investigating crimes against children. She saw a need to educate young people and their parents about the dangers of social media. She created presentations for not only tweens, but teens and adults too, about cyberbullying, about sexting, and online predators. After difficult days at work, she would give these briefings to church groups, to civic organizations, to school clubs. Basically, anyone who requested her, she felt the need to educate them. So she said yes. So for keeping our young people in the city of Greensboro safe online, GMA presents Sergeant Lynn Wright with a Distinguished Service Award. Next is the Guilford Merchants Association Excellence in Crime Prevention Officer. This award recognizes a sworn member of the Greensboro Police Department who has shown significant measures for crime prevention in the corporate community. This award goes to Sergeant Corey Johnson. Sergeant Johnson? Now, Sergeant Johnson has made an enormous impact in the downtown business district. He has been incredibly proactive in addressing panhandling, trespassing, and public alcohol consumption. During the night shifts, Sergeant Johnson keeps a watchful eye on the after-hour clubs crowds, and often he provides preemptive counseling to individuals who may, well, let's just say otherwise make some poor decisions that could lead to their own demise. And wouldn't you like to be on the fly on the wall watching him do that? Counseling and saying, hey, you have more in you than what you're about to do. Love, love, love it. So for making our downtown safer, GMA is pleased to award Sergeant Corey Johnson with the Excellence in Crime Prevention. Congratulations. This year, the Excellence in Crime Prevention Award for a corporation is presented to a company that has partnered with GPD to reduce crime in Northeast Greensboro. Will Michael Shifton from DevCon Resources please join us on stage? DevCon Resources is a real estate consulting and development company, and it is very active in improving the quality of life for residents near the Renaissance Community Co-op. It's a property that they manage, but they take it so much further. DevCon has revitalized an area that really was a crime attractant by cleaning up abandoned properties and removing dilapidated old buildings. Members of the company also attended community watch meetings and interacted with the members there. And they've sponsored community outreach events to help build bridges between the police and the community. And this is the way, folks, that we make our city safer. So thank you, Mr. Shifton. And one more time, let's give GMA a big round of applause for all that they do. Would Ann Heiss, who is the former chairman of the Greensboro Guilford Crime Stoppers Board, please join us on the stage to present the Crime Stoppers Award. You know, each year Crime Stoppers selects an officer who has helped to promote the program within the community and the department, as well as actively provide tips assigned to them. This year, the award goes to Detective Jeremy Tanner. So Detective Tanner investigates commercial property crimes, and he works closely with businesses to educate them about the Crime Stoppers program. For his support and for the promotion of the Crime Stoppers program that he does continually, Detective Tanner is being awarded the Crime Stoppers Officer of the Year for 2017. Congratulations. Up next, the all-important Chiefs Award. The Chiefs Award recognizes individuals or corporations that have partnered with the Greensboro Police Department through strong support of programs that are actually sponsored by the department. So our first recipient has come a long way. We'd like to recognize Tammy Bybee from the Duck Police Department. Here she comes. So Officer Bybee was kind enough to donate 2 purebred bloodhounds to the Greensboro Police Department. So have you heard of Sully or seen Sully? You may remember she was the pup that was named, or he was the pup that was named by our community, but then Officer Bybee gave her to us, and she gave Sully's half-brother, Carson, as well. Bybee has been breeding bloodhounds for approximately 10 years now, and specifically to donate to law enforcement agencies. She says this service comes from her heart. To date, she's donated, get this, 100 puppies to local, state, and federal agencies. Yes, that's a big round of applause. So for providing the 2 bloodhounds, we recognize Officer Bybee with the Chiefs Award. Okay, Sandra Hughes, come on to the stage. Y'all know that name. You know that face. quite the awesome individual. You know Sandra. She's been in television for, what, 1 or 2 years, Sandra, maybe? Among other gigs, Sandra is the host for GPD's Building Bridges program. This series highlights the ways the community and police can connect with each other. Her easy way of engaging with people, combined with her natural inquisitiveness, she really keeps the conversation flowing, even when the topics can be quite complex and really sensitive. Because of her skills and her wonderful passion for peace, viewers have a better understanding of the many ways that officers and members of the public can collaborate to make themselves and our cities safer. So for helping to build bridges both on and off the set, we are honored to present Ms. Sandra Hughes with the Chiefs Award. Congratulations. Sandra is one of the first people that I interviewed when I came to Greensboro in 1989 to do PM Magazine. And I've loved her since the first hello. She's awesome. Charlie and Ruth Jones, please come to the stage. So these two may not be as well known as Sandra, but once you meet them, they have the type of personality that you will never, ever forget. They created something called Grub for Peace. Every so often, they invite dozens of community members and dozens of police officers to their very large home to sit down and eat and have conversation. Then in their unique and quirky style, they kind of facilitate a discussion that helps everyone get to know each other as people, not as types. So as they eat together, exchanging stories and jokes and laughter, barriers are broken down. They say Grub is their small contribution to reduce distrust among police and minorities. And in their lofty home that's there on South Elm Street, a lot of great things happen. People connect with each other in a very genuine way. So for opening your home, opening your hearts, and building bridges among police and the public, we are honored to present you, Charlie and Ruth Jones, with the Chiefs Award. Congratulations for a job well done. Will Bishop Brian Pierce please join us on stage? Bishop Pierce is a leader at Mount Zion Baptist Church. We know Mount Zion, don't we? But he's more than that. He's also a leader in the city of Greensboro. He has played a key role in the success of Boys to Men workshops, which were designed to inspire single mothers and young men as they are raising them to create stronger, healthier families. For both events, Mount Zion funded, prepared, and served 4-course breakfast for more than 250 people. And because of their support, both of the events were very well attended. So for helping families move toward wellness, we are pleased to present Bishop Brian Pierce with the Chiefs Award. So our next recognition comes at a pretty high price. Would Mr. Steve Shelton please come to the stage? Mr. Shelton is partnering with GPD to raise awareness about the opioid addiction problem that is tackling our communities with force. He and his family are painfully aware of the tragic consequence of this epidemic. Last October, at just 27 years young, his son Caleb succumbed to a growing reliance on painkillers, resulting to heroin to ease the pain from athletic injuries and a motorcycle crash. Mr. Shelton shares his emotional story to help other families who are dealing with this and to remind first responders in their efforts that they're saving loved ones and they're more meaningful than anyone could ever fully appreciate. So, Mr. Shelton, we are truly humbled to present you with the Chiefs Award. Thank you for all you're doing. Would James Spate please come to the stage now? Mr. Spate is the founder of Malachi House 2. Please come up. So you may be familiar with it. It is a faith-based mentoring program to help men overcome life-controlling issues. He's been quite the supporter of GPD, ready to help out in any way possible. For example, his organization actually cooked a meal and served food for the State of the District event, and then he provided a driver to transport 15 young participants each day in a week-long program that encouraged healthy life choices. So Mr. Spate, for this and much more, earns the Chief's Award for his willingness to contribute positive changes to the lives of others. Congratulations. Will Dr. Irish Spencer please come to the stage? So I have to tell you, I heard about this lady before I even got the script from my husband, who's a district attorney, and had her as a victim witness. And he told me about this wonderfully strong woman who is turning a negative into such an incredible positive. It came at a high price as well. She's being recognized for her passionate efforts to reduce violence in our city because she knows the pain of losing a loved one. Her son, William, was just 25 years young and was murdered one early February morning last year. From her anguish came a steely resolve to help others and make our city safer. She formed FASK, which stands for Families Against Senseless Killings. She's made it her personal mission, folks, to help solve violent crimes, to bring together grieving families so they have the support that they need for mutual healing. For her dedication and her willingness to make such a wonderful difference in our city, we're proud to present Dr. Irish Spencer with the Chief's Award. Congratulations. Up next, we present the Citizens Certificate of Merit. Now, this award is given to citizens whose actions exemplify excellence in the performance of a civic responsibility. So tonight, we are honored to present this award to 5 remarkable people. First of all, Sierra Miller, will you please come up to the stage? And Isa Abuzueter, will you join her, please? Mr. Miller, or Ms. Miller, was working as a clerk at John's Curb Market on December 19th of 2016. It was about 11:30 p.m. when a man came in who had been kicked out of the store a few minutes earlier for attempting to steal some chips. He came in and he'd been kicking and punching the owner, Isa Abuzueter. Ms. Miller ran from behind the counter, pulled the man off the owner right about the time that he was about to hit Mr. Abuzueter with a big, heavy hand truck. So the assailant then fled from the store. You can say Mr. Abuzueter is doing great now, right? Doing really good. He's recovered nicely. So for not hesitating to protect her fellow man, even at the risk of her own safety, we are proud to present Ms. Sierra Miller with the Citizens Certificate of Merit. Congratulations. Well, Mr. Brad Rice and Mr. Calvin Summers Jr., please come to the stage. On the afternoon of February 23rd of this year, Mr. Summers and Mr. Rice were at work at General Green Elementary School. Mr. Rice is a phys ed teacher. Mr. Summers is a custodian there. Mr. Summers is also a volunteer firefighter. Children were on the playground as the school was about to be dismissed when a car crashed through a fence, drove through the playground, coming to a stop at the school. School personnel ran to the car and found that the driver had no pulse. Well, Mr. Rice ran into the school to get the AED, the automatic external defibrillator, while Mr. Summers began giving him CPR. Both of them then used the AED on the driver. The driver had a pulse when EMS arrived and survived. So for taking quick action to save the life of a motorist in cardiac arrest, we're glad to present Mr. Brad Rice and Mr. Calvin Summers Jr. with the Citizens Certificate of Merit. Congratulations. So our next 2 recipients cannot be here tonight, but their victim is here, and so we would like to recognize him. Well, Mr. Glenn Mitchell, or Gary Mitchell, it's Gary Mitchell, please come to the stage. This is an amazing story. Mr. Brett Willoughby Ray was driving on Highway 68 near West Market Street on March 6th of this year. He saw a car crash. He pulled over to see if anyone needed help. And it's a good thing that he did because the driver was unresponsive and trapped in his vehicle. He tried to use the only tool that he could find, which was a nine iron, there you go, and began hitting the window. But the window of the car wouldn't break. So at this point, a dump truck, which was driven by Mr. Gary Willard, who also couldn't be here tonight, pulled up. Between the two of them, they took that nine iron and just smashed the window, broke it in half, but they were able to get the driver out of the car. They began performing CPR until EMS arrived. Doctors at Moses Cone said that the driver, Mr. Mitchell, had suffered a widowmaker heart attack. But look at him, he's standing right here, folks. He survived because of the actions of those two citizens. So they will be presented with the Citizen Certificate of Merit. Next, we honor the officers who are directly responsible for saving a human life or substantially prolonging human life. Will Corporal Brian Faust please come to the stage? Corporal Faust was the first officer to arrive at a shooting scene on March 6th. He had located the victim in the breezeway of the building and saw that he had a gunshot wound to his upper thigh. Knowing that the victim's femoral artery was struck, Corporal Faust applied manual pressure to the leg, stemming the flow of the blood. The wound was so severe that arriving EMS quickly applied a tourniquet. So for rendering first aid to a shooting victim, we present Corporal Faust with a life-saving medal. Congratulations. Will Corporal Henley and Officer Hooker please come up? On January 14th, then Officer Henley and Officer Hooker were dispatched to a local hotel for an unknown problem man down. Officer Hooker first arrived and was directed to a room where a woman was found unconscious and without a pulse. He began CPR and was soon joined by Officer Henley, who assisted him. By the time that EMS arrived, the woman had regained a heartbeat. The officers learned that the woman had suffered some type of medical emergency during a tryst with her married lover, but for rendering CPR, Corporal Henley and Officer Hooker are receiving the life-saving medal. Congratulations. All right, Corporal Henry, don't get anywhere. About 3 weeks later, on February 6th, Officer Henley was dispatched to a different hotel for another unknown problem man down. When he arrived there, employees directed him to a man who was slumped over near the hotel entrance. Well, Officer Henley determined that the man was not breathing and he had no pulse. He moved the victim to a safe place and performed CPR until EMS arrived. An EMS supervisor credits Corporal Henley's quick actions for saving the man's life, and for this, he has earned the life-saving medal. Congratulations. Oh, by the way, Chief says this is his third one. How about that? Will Corporal John McIntosh please join us on the stage? Usually, Corporal McIntosh has this sidekick, Zeke. Unfortunately, K9 Zeke could not join us because we have to watch out for the health code violations, right? So it was November 15th of 2016 when a driver jumped and ran from his vehicle to avoid a checkpoint. It was dark. It was cold, about 30 degrees. The area was thick with vegetation. Enter Corporal McIntosh and K9 Zeke. After a difficult tracking mission, the team found the driver unconscious in the water in a culvert. While fleeing, it appears the driver struck his head on the drain, broke his neck, resulting in full body paralysis. He was also suffering from hypothermia. But for finding the person, keeping him from dying, and rendering first aid, Corporal McIntosh and Zeke earned the life-saving medal. Congratulations. Yes. So Chief said Zeke gets a steak tonight. Is that right, Corporal? Absolutely. Oh, awesome. Corporal J.J. Palmentary and Officer James West, please come forward. On September 2nd, a crowd at Club Bucanas began fighting in the parking lot as the business was closing. Someone had been shot. Patrons were attempting to place the victim in a privately owned vehicle. Corporal Palmentary and other officers on the scene recognized that the victim had been struck in an artery and he needed immediate medical attention. Battling uncooperative onlookers, the group of officers managed to get the victim on the ground, and then Officer West applied a tourniquet while Corporal Palmentary packed the wound with gauze. The victim later underwent surgery, and because of their actions, he survived. Attending physicians stated that the victim would likely have died right there if it had not been for the quick actions of the officers on scene. So for that, we award Corporal Palmentary and Officer West with life-saving medals. Congratulations. Next, we ask Corporal Jonathan Sink and Detective Stephen Brown and Detective Jane Moratea and Detective Christopher Wingfield to come to the stage. There's an incredible story. These 4 officers were part of a very, very sad and very, very dangerous situation. It happened on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The officers learned that 2 large dogs had escaped from a neighbor's house and had attacked several family members and then taken a 17-month-old boy. Detectives Wingfield and Mortea found the severely injured child behind the home, but the child was unresponsive, and right next to him was the large, very vicious and fierce dog. The officers couldn't neutralize the dog without possibly further injuring the child, so the detectives, along with Corporal Sink, began to approach the animal. When the dog moved further away or far enough away from the toddler, Corporal Sink fired at it with his shotgun. The dog was only wounded and quickly ran away. Still very, very dangerous. Detective Winfield placed himself between the aggressive dog and the child, making himself a human shield so that Detectives Brown and Mortea could rescue the boy and rush him to nearby EMS. Detective Wingfield then searched for both dogs to prevent additional harm to other people. He found one and neutralized it. The second was found a short time later by Guilford County Animal Control. For their actions, we honor them with the life-saving medals. Would Corporal Matt Slatton please join us? It was about 11:30 on March 18th when Corporal Slatton and Officers Fiore and Stewart responded to a pedestrian walkway at McKnight Mill Road that goes over Highway 29. You may be familiar with it. A distraught man was there, and he was contemplating taking his own life by jumping off the overpass and into oncoming traffic below. For approximately 75 minutes, Corporal Slatton, assisted by his fellow officers, calmly talked to the man, eventually getting him to climb down from the fenced caging, but then they were able to escort him to the hospital personally for medical care. So for his compassion, his patience, and his communication skills, which prevented the suicide, we present Corporal Slatton with a life-saving medal. Congratulations. Will Officer Brett Constant please come to the stage? Where's Brett? Officer Constant was dispatched to a domestic disorder on May 16, 2016, and when he entered the residence, he found a woman on the floor. She had no pulse, and she wasn't conscious. He performed CPR until fire and EMS arrived and continued the process. An emergency room doctor credited Officer Constant's actions with her recovery. He has since earned the life-saving medal. Congratulations. Will Officer Christopher Falk please come to the stage? Officer Falk was the first responder at a scene on Beck Street in December of 2016. 2 people had been shot several times each. Both of them were losing a whole lot of blood. Officer Falk began applying a tourniquet to one victim, but then he directed citizens to take a belt and fashion a tourniquet for the other victim. The head nurse at the hospital confirmed that Falk's victim had been shot in an artery, and the tourniquet was instrumental in stopping the flow of blood. Both of the victims survived. So for his quick actions and the calmness that he had that resulted in saving at least one person that night, we're honored to present Officer Falk with a life-saving medal. Will Officer Dustin Hanson please come to the stage? We weren't even 2 hours into the new year when Officer Hanson was dispatched to a club where several people had been stabbed. He found one victim with an arterial bleed from the neck. The victim was unconscious and losing lots of blood. Without hesitation, Officer Hanson reached his hand into the victim's neck and applied pressure to stop the bleeding. EMS then transported the victim to the hospital where he underwent surgery and was given a transfusion. Officer Hanson's quick actions saved the man's life, so congratulations on earning a life-saving medal. Officers Peyton Lingle and Brian Tysinger, please. Officers Lingle and Tysinger were at Western Guilford High School on March 13th when they were summoned to the cafeteria. A special needs student was unconscious on the ground. He had no pulse and he was not breathing and he was turning blue. The two officers immediately began chest compressions and back blows to dislodge any object that may have been obstructing the airway. Well, after several minutes, the student began to breathe and regain consciousness. A thankful parent and many witnesses credit Officers Lingle and Tysinger with saving the boy's life. Congratulations on your life-saving medal. Will Detective John Ludman please join us on stage? On March 9th, a concerned boyfriend called Guilford Metro 911 because his girlfriend was missing and was suicidal. The only way to find her, though, was through her cell phone. Using skills that he obtained to find missing fugitive, Detective Ludman identified the area she might be located, organized officers to systematically search the location. She was found. She was lethargic and hypothermic, overdosing on pills and sitting in knee-deep water in a pond. Fire and EMS treated her and brought her to the hospital for additional care. For using the intricate technology to locate and rescue a suicidal woman, we are very honored to present Detective Ludman with a life-saving medal. Congratulations. Next, we'd like to honor and recognize Officer Jonathan Myrick. Where's Jonathan? Officer Myrick responded to a breaking and entering call on October 2nd, 2016. The suspect had a deep wound on his arm and had a lacerated artery in his leg while he was forcing his way through a glass door. Well, Officer Myrick assessed the burglar's injuries and then began administering first aid. Fire, EMS, and personnel responded and found the suspect in handcuffs and properly applied a tourniquet above his knee. Medical professionals credit Officer Myrick with creating a positive outcome for the victims. So we congratulate, in his absence, Officer Jonathan Myrick. Would Officer Robert Poole please come to the stage? On April 26th, Officer Poole was proactively policing his patrol zone when he saw a vehicle in the back parking lot of a fast food restaurant. He went to check it out. As he got a little closer, he saw a semi-responsive man lying in the back seat of the car. He knew the man needed medical attention, and he called for EMS. Officer Poole then placed the man in a shady area, and then the man, how do we say this, with dinner, well, he just began to expel his stomach contents. He then fell unresponsive, so Officer Poole took the steps to keep the man's airway open until EMS arrived, and that man made a full recovery. So for trusting his instincts and taking actions to save a man who had overdosed on heroin, we present the life-saving medal to Officer Poole. Will Officer Sonaria Smith please come up? Officer Smith was the first to arrive on a shooting scene on November 9th of 2016. She found a victim who had been shot in the neck. Officer Smith applied a field expedient compression badge to the wound, which helped to slow the bleeding. The victim arrived at the hospital in critical condition, but survived. Doctors and paramedics both attribute this victim's outcome to Officer Smith's quick actions. So for this, we present her with a life-saving medal. Officer Tyler Wiseman, please come up. On August 3rd of 2016, Officer Wiseman was dispatched by our great friends at Guilford Metro 911. They sent him to a hotel. That's where a man had overdosed. He had no pulse and he wasn't breathing. Officer Wiseman began rescue breathing and determined that through the return breaths, the victim had aspirated fluid. So Officer Wiseman delivered strong, quick breaths, which eventually cleared the victim's airway. The victim regained a pulse and made a full recovery. So for his actions, we present Officer Wiseman with a life-saving medal. Will Officer Peter Whitman please come to the stage? Officer Whitmer was delivering a prisoner to the Guilford County Jail on March 3rd. As he was placing the subject in a holding cell, he caught a glimpse of another prisoner who was lying on the floor by the toilet. Officer Whitmer looked closer. He discovered that that prisoner had actually tied one end of a shoestring around his neck and the other end around the sink faucet. He was attempting to hang himself. The prisoner was unresponsive, was turning blue due to the lack of oxygen. So Officer Whitmer removed the rope from the man's neck, performed a sternum rub, and successfully revived the man. For preventing a suicide, we present Officer Whitmer with a life-saving medal. Lastly, we would like to recognize a group of officers who have saved lives by administering Narcan. It reverses the often fatal outcomes of opioid or heroin overdoses. Mr. Steve Shelton, who we recognized just a few minutes ago, knows all too well the devastation caused by this disease, and we'd like for him to join us, if he would, on stage again as the following officers come up. Corporal Jonathan Sink, Officers Ethan Brown, Samuel Chandler, Wade Krause, Jeffrey Fetter, Jose C. Garcia Perez, David Hoffman, Corey Johnson, Adrian Rory, Pershay Stewart Lane, James Ward, Tyler Wiseman, and Brian Witcher. Steve Scott, I understand you want to say a few words.
Yes, I will. Just a second. So you may have noticed, number one, are we having a great night or what? It's incredible, isn't it? We've given out a record number of life-saving awards this year, and we want to continue to do that. But in the fall of 2016, we entered into a relationship. We started having our officers carry this miracle drug, as Cindy just said, Narcan. I wanted to just take a moment to bring some awareness to the opioid epidemic in our community. You're going to be hearing more from the Greensboro Police Department on this topic in the coming months, but we are responding on average anywhere from 2 to as many as 4 incidents a night where we're administering Narcan now. We have lost 16 lives in Greensboro to opioid addiction since January 1st and responded on almost 180 calls. So it is an epidemic, and it's one that our entire community needs to be aware of. And that's why I'm so proud to have built this friendship with an ambassador, a man who has been on the front line, who has helped us. And so I'd like to turn over and let you have a couple minutes.
Thank you, sir. Our son Caleb died from an accidental overdose last October, 27 years young. This was a chaotic, tragic, avoidable event in the life of my family, one that has changed life's direction for us forever. I was out of town at the time, but detectives on site that night in my home, among them Lieutenant T.D. Moore and Detective Mitchell, brought a sense of calm and professionalism to a frantic chaotic event, and I owe a great deal of gratitude to these gentlemen. Addiction is a disease which knows no boundaries. It transcends age, race, gender, societal class, and a level of education. I hope history will record that our society did not shy away from, nor misrepresent, nor underestimate this challenge, but rather met it head on. These fine men and women of the Greensboro Police Department are our frontline soldiers in this crusade to save our youth. Narcan has equipped our police department with yet another tool to save lives, giving these men and women another chance at being productive members of society. Saving lives of some of this generation's youngest and brightest is an act of highest valor coming from highly dedicated professionals. These officers before you not only saved a life, they saved those closest to these victims from a tidal wave of sorrow and grief that will follow those the rest of their lives. My son's life matters. Every life matters. Thank you.
Now we're going to recognize the people who have earned the Superior Service Bar. The Superior Service Bar is awarded to one whose actions distinguish the recipient from other members that perform comparable duties, exceeds what is normally required or expected, and contributes to the goals of the department and to law enforcement, the profession. Let's have the following officers come to the stage. Sergeant Ashley Brown, Detectives Christopher Abdullah, David Cicerelli, Eric Early, Anders Lindrup, Matthew O'Callaghan, and Matthew Osborne. Please come up. So if you lived here in Greensboro during the election year, then you know you have a pretty good idea of the number of candidates who just loved our city. They visited here frequently. It seemed like every week we had at least one or two high-ranking politicians coming here. The visits required a lot of police support. The officers that we're recognizing here tonight worked alongside the U.S. Secret Service to create security plans for 20 dignitary visits, and then working long hours to provide on-the-ground personal protection for the officials. They did their jobs very well. Every official arrived and left safely. So for providing excellent protective services during a busy election year, we're honored to present these officers with the Superior Service Bar. Congratulations.
Just like a presidential summary, it took a minute. Sorry about that.
Will Sergeant Alan Ellis and Officer J.D. Frazier please come up? Every so often, police departments are required to retire their existing handguns and issue new ones. Well, GPD was transitioning to new firearms earlier this year. While training on the new weapon, Sergeant Ellis and Officer Frazier identified several shortfalls with a handgun that presented some safety concerns. So the pair worked closely with the manufacturer to re-engineer parts of the weapon, and then they tested, retested, and tested the weapon some more until they were absolutely sure the firearm was dependable, was accurate, and was safe. So for their actions, we present Sergeant Ellis and Officer Frazier with the Superior Service Bars. Will Corporal Sheila Lennox Spalding please come to the stage? Corporal Lennox Spalding serves Hampton Homes, which is one of the Greensboro's oldest and largest public housing neighborhoods. working in the areas can be kind of tough. Many of the residents don't really trust the police, but this corporal has done an amazing job of building trust with the people that she serves. She has earned their respect. She's befriended the young and the old. She's involved in many outreach efforts there too. The relationships that she has built have helped to prevent and to solve crimes. So for embodying neighborhood-oriented policing, we present Corporal Lennox Spalding with the Superior Service Bar. Congratulations. Next, we invite Sergeant Donnie Priest to the stage. On February 19th, then Corporal Priest and his partner, Officer Burkmeyer, who couldn't be here tonight, were called to a home where a mother of 3 children had been taken for an emergency commitment. It's such a sad story that left her 3 children, ages 6, 5, and 8 months without care. Nearby family members refused to help them. The Department of Social Services was unreachable. So what did these officers do? Well, they bought them breakfast. They made baby formula. They changed her diaper. Most importantly, this is what got me. They talked to those babies. They told them their mama was gonna be okay, that she was just getting the care that she needed. They spent 5 hours caring for and comforting these children. So that's why they were presented this Superior Service Bar to Sergeant Priest and Officer Brookmeyer. Will Corporal Lance Wills please come to the stage? On September 10th, Corporal Wills was working at the National Folk Festival. So many people were by the dance pavilion that the officers had to block off one lane of Washington Street to accommodate the crowd. Corporal Wills was assisting with crowd management when out of the corner of his eye, he saw a small child break away from his mother and dart into the street, and he saw a bus that was coming down the road fast. The bus driver couldn't see the child, and the bus showed no signs of slowing. Corporal Wills jumped in front of the bus, grabbed the child, and pulled him out of the bus's path. For running in front of an oncoming bus to save a toddler from injury or death, in his absence, I believe, we present Corporal Wills with the Superior Service Bar. You know why he's not here? He's working. He's on a special teams call out. 24/7, they give all. Would Officer Daniel Benatti please join us? So this officer just seems to excel at everything he does. He's an informal leader in his squad, training and mentoring his peers. He has the knack of kind of easily gaining rapport with people in stressful situations, which calms them and helps to gain valuable information in solving cases. He cares deeply for other people, and his passion for following up on cases shows it. Officer Benatti also appreciates the value of Crime Stoppers and the Child Response Initiative, using both programs to help others and make our cities safer. And for that, we present him with the Superior Service Bar. Congratulations. Would Officers Megan Fitzgerald and Adrian McIntosh please come to the stage? These officers were dispatched to a local hotel in October of 2016 after someone called Guilford Metro 911 to report trespassers. Well, when they arrived, they met an out-of-town mother who was down on her luck, and she had 5 children with her. The family had simply run out of money and had no place to stay while they were waiting for funds from a family member. Officers Fitzgerald and McIntosh tried for 2 hours to find the family accommodations. They didn't meet the criteria for a shelter. Most hotels were booked due to bad weather or even the furniture market. None of these obstacles deterred these two. After exhausting all the resources, they pooled their own money and found a place for the family to stay for 2 nights. So for their compassion and their selfless service, Officers Fitzgerald and McIntosh have earned the Superior Service Bars. Congratulations. Would Officer Wendy Hunt please come to the stage? It seems Officer Hunt was born to be a school resource officer. She is great with kids. Since 2014, she's been the SRO at Kaiser Middle School. And like all of GPD's SROs, she does much more than just keep the school grounds safe. She's personally interested and invested in her students. She started a mentoring program called the Kaiser Queens, and every Wednesday she meets with 20 to 30 girls who could benefit from some extra attention, even an adult role model. She keeps track of the students' behavior and their academics performance too, and she ensures that the girls are living up to their responsibilities, but doesn't stop there. She also launched the SAFE program, Students Accountability in Fitness and Exercise. Once a week, she makes the students put down their mobile devices, and that is not easy to do, and makes them get active. So for her devotion to her students, we present Officer Hunt with the Superior Service Spark. Congratulations. Now we'd like to call Officer Heather Jefferson to the stage. Officer Jefferson is another officer who really embodies neighborhood-oriented policing. She enjoys working with the public and has created several opportunities to build bridges between them and the police. For instance, she created a program to sustain donations to the Hickory Trails Food Pantry. She organized a holiday event and even read The Night Before Christmas to young residents last year. Officer Jefferson takes every opportunity to help young people. She purchased clothes for a homeless woman. She's mentoring a young mother in a very challenging domestic relationship to keep them safe. For setting an example of how to improve the lives of others, Officer Jefferson receives the Superior Service Bar. Congratulations. Up next, we have the Medals of Valor to present. This award is for exceptional bravery at imminent risk of serious bodily injury, demonstrating exceptional courage by performing voluntary actions in an extremely dangerous situation. Will Deputy Chiefs Joel Cranford, James Henson, Brian James, and Mike Ritchie please join us on the stage? And I'm going to turn the microphone over to Chief Scott to present these awards.
We take just another moment when we begin to look at these next couple of awards. Not every year do we award Medals of Valor. We have had, in what I believe to be probably the most difficult year in policing in this country, coming off the next most difficult year. We've seen an increase across the country in assaults, both against officers and against our own community. And I think it's important that we remember that we have these wonderful nights, but these officers go out and on a daily basis, they are putting their lives in jeopardy. This is a very sobering award. We're very proud of the people who receive them. So I want to tell you about the first incident that generated our folks to come up here, and then we'll call them up in just a minute. On August the 8th, 2016, at just before 6 o'clock in the morning, officers responded to 2705 MacArthur Drive. They responded there because someone had dialed 911 and identified that there was shooting happening outside. Subsequently, what happened, as the officers were getting closer, the 911 call was updating. What had happened is an individual who was very distraught, who had some mental issues, had attacked a door, and the person behind that door shot at them. When the officers arrived, they quickly do what police do. They went to the gunfire. They located an individual in a very close proximity to the apartment, and they took a position of cover while he was armed and began to negotiate from a distance. You know, a lot of things have been said, and I won't bring up the controversy about body camera, but I do have the ability to watch body camera and to see what those officers saw. And they sat and they used every tool in the book for more than 30 minutes trying to bring a peaceful resolution. I could not be more proud of these officers. The individual was not going to have that and continued to periodically fire his gun. There became a point in time when the officers had to return fire, and they wounded him. While this individual fell to the ground, non-fatal, he still grasped the gun and continued to point in the direction of the officers. The officers we're going to name in just a moment bravely and quickly took a plan and risked their own lives to assault that individual by gumming up on him and getting him and the gun under control. Phenomenal police work. As you watch it through the body camera and you see it through the officer's eyes, it makes hair on the back of your neck stand up. That's the kind of thing that these GPD officers get a Medal of Valor for. So I'm going to let you call them up, and as we present them, please join me in a tremendous round of applause.
We're Sergeant Matt Minshew, Officer Matt Leahy, Corporal Robert Chapman, and Officers Adrian Dellinger, Dedrick Evans, and Thomas Henderson. Please come to the stage. So for their roles with a distraught, wounded, armed man intent on shooting police on August 8th, we present Corporal Robert Chapman, Officers Adrian Dellinger, Dedrick Evans, Thomas Henderson, along with Officers Williams and Young, who could not be here, with a Superior Service Bar. Sergeant Matt Minshew, Officer Matt Leahy, both earn the Medal of Valor. Congratulations. I did CrossFit with those two. They're as strong as they are mean. They're awesome. All right, Chief Scott.
So as I mentioned earlier, we didn't only have one incident like this year, we had a second. And I will tell you, as a chief of police, one of the most feared events to hear is on a radio that an officer has been shot. It is something that we pray about and we hope never to hear. I am grateful that that officer is here today and going to receive an award. But on February the 10th, 2017, Officer LeBaire and Officer Garrison were doing their job. They were working a Crime Stoppers related tip in a high crime area. They stopped a vehicle that we believe strongly was part of a drug issue. And one officer gave foot pursuit to one of the suspects. What resulted thereafter was a very violent encounter that probably everybody in the room has seen something on the news about. At the conclusion of that, those officers displayed incredible valor to continue to fight. The subject that ran was armed and fully intended and did use deadly force on one of our officers. The officer is here today. The officer continued to fight and returned by using deadly force. The assist officer ran blindly up into the woods when this was occurring to assist her partner. Those are not everyday occurrences, and I will tell you as your chief, I'm glad they're not. But I couldn't be more proud of the individuals that responded. We had more than 50 plus officers from several different jurisdictions, and we all pulled together. So as these officers come up, we're going to be giving both a Medal of Valor and something that we give out very rarely, and I'm glad of that, which is our Purple Heart. So again, I'll let Cindy bring them up, and we'll begin.
Would Officers Joseph Purcell, Lakita Garrison, and Justin Labar please come to the stage? Officer Joseph Purcell gets a Superior Service Bar. Officer Lakita Garrison with a Medal of Valor, and Officer Justin Labar with a Purple Heart and a Medal of Valor. Congratulations.
So I actually slighted Officer Purcell for a second. One of the reasons that he received his service award is he was actually off duty and close by and responded. He was the first person there. Just goes to show, again, above and beyond the call. Thank you.
Now we move on to recognizing individuals who have been nominated by their colleagues for being the best of the best. Now it's time to introduce our volunteer, sworn volunteer, rookie employee, and our Officer of the Year. We'll unveil these winners through a series of videos. So if you happen to realize that you're the person being honored because you may not know it, please come up to the stage so we can present you with your award. These are anonymous. They don't know it yet. We'll start with a video of our Volunteer of the Year. Take a look.
Although Tramel possesses a quiet disposition about himself, his overwhelming dedication to all things involving the Greensboro Police Department is always highly visible. He's always very adamant about participating in any event that he's allowed to participate in. He's always first to show up. He's one of the last volunteers to leave. And his dedication is just always, you can just always really depend on it. It's consistent and it's always genuine. He is truly deserving of this award.
Well, Tramel, we just want to say thank you for your dedication to the Greensboro Police Department. We know you've put in hours of work to give back to the community and to give back to this department, and we really appreciate what you've done. Your work with Operation Yuletide, your work in general, just thank you for being a great volunteer.
There are many times people just do wonderful things with you and for you, and you oftentimes just say the word thank you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there are those times where you wish you had more than the words thank you. And Tramel is just one of those individuals that every time he participates in a GPD-related event, you wish you had more than the words thank you. And so we're just super excited that we're able to show him much more than the words thank you. So he's very deserving. Congratulations, Tramel.
Congratulations, Tramel. Next, we honor our Sworn Volunteer Officer of the Year. Last year, we called this the Reserve Officer of the Year. This award is given to the officer who shows exceptional dedication by sustaining his sworn status by volunteering with the GPD. Let's start the video.
Officer Langsholtz has given so much back to the community through this office. I cannot tell you the number of children he has impacted through his demonstrations with his 2 dogs. He is always excited to come in. He even has his own computer, his own workspace. We really enjoy him coming in. He just has a great presence in the office and a great presence in the community. When he first came in, he had said, "I'm retired, I've got 2 dogs, I still want the dogs to have interaction with people, what can I do?" And interestingly enough, the chief had just come to me and said, "Wouldn't it be great if there were a canine that we could dedicate to your office?" So the 2 just happened to come together, and he is one of the most dedicated volunteers. He is always in a good mood. He just has a great sense of humor, and because he's retired, he has been very willing to put himself out to come in and just do all this great work. I mean, he's done hundreds of hours already volunteering.
Officer Langholz, although he is a retired officer, he still carries a disposition about himself that lets everybody at least think that he's still active in his own way. The way he cares for his canine partners and the way he is still so engaged in all things regarding the Greensboro Police Department. He's always so excited to take on the task of answering speaker engagements when it comes to sending those canine officers to the schools, to the daycares, or any of those community meetings. He's such a delight to work with. We get rave reviews about how much of a wonderful encounter or engagement he gave to that particular event. So he's really turned out to be a fantastic asset to the Office of Community Engagement, and I think this is a really wonderful way to say thank you for his time that he's given as a retired GPD officer.
Congratulations, Steve. Up next, our next video recognizes the Rookie of the Year. The recipient of this award really embodies the ethos of law enforcement profession and has distinguished himself through exemplary service. Let's see who earned this title.
Powell's really distinguished himself being a very proactive officer. He can't sit still, and he tends to work the entire squad by getting them to assist him on playing. So he just really gets out there, stops a bunch of cars, very inquisitive, has good instincts, notices when something's not right or whenever something just doesn't add up, and has made some very good cases.
You know, I've had the opportunity to see him progress over time with instructing in the academy, and then he got to train on our squad for several months, and he got assigned to the squad after us. So I had a chance to answer 1,000 questions from him and then watch him actually take that information and convert it into the start of a career.
He's like very polite, very like cheerful whenever he's talking to someone, even if it's a suspect. I always notice it at checkpoints. He always has a little conversation with people whenever they come up.
I think he interacts well. He asks good questions. I think that's probably what he's really well known for, is asking questions, lots of them. But he always has some way that he can relate to the people that he's interacting with. Usually it's just a conversation about general topics or ferrets or whatever thing he's into that day.
And to look at the job that he's doing and then to have that charisma or relationship with the people that he's dealing with, it just kind of sets him apart. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. I think the squad's proud of you for receiving this award. Just congratulations.
Congratulations, Powell. You've earned it. You definitely deserve this award.
Congratulations, Officer Powell. The Employee of the Year is in honor of our dear friend, Rich Brenner, who emceed these banquets for many, many years and loved it. Our Employee of the Year kind of skipped town on us. He and his family are currently in Disneyland. We're going to send him a YouTube video, though, of a link to his award tomorrow so that he and his family can be a part of the surprise. Can you show the video?
Brandon was nominated for not only his performance this past year, but for the past several years. He has been an extremely dedicated employee to the Greensboro Police Department as well as to the residents of Greensboro.
Well, he's the best boss I've ever had. He's very thoughtful and he's patient with all of us. You can tell that he really cares about the employees that he has working for him. He just does an insane amount of work making sure that people know the value of crime analysis and of our department and the work that we do.
The last 5 years, 6 years, I've been either the CID commander or deputy chief of the support bureau. And unlike patrol where everything is map-based, all the questions we ask are odd, and sometimes we have the information easy to get to in RMS, sometimes we don't have it at all. And whenever those odd requests come up, how many widgets of this we have or need, it's Brandon that I always go to, and Brandon is always there to help. He puts together his staff and really helps guide the staff to figure out how to answer the question that we asked, and more importantly, the question we didn't know to ask.
Hey Brandon, congratulations on being selected as Employee of the Year. You have certainly earned it. You have made such a huge impact on this department and the way the officers can do their jobs. You've made such a big difference in our crime fighting abilities, and you sincerely have earned this award. Not only are you good at what you do, I really enjoy when you come in and get your candy so we can chat for a little while. Congrats again.
I congratulate Brandon for the hard work and dedication that he's given to the department this past year and the years previously, and wish him the best in the future as the Employee of the Year.
Congratulations. It's very well deserved and well earned. I don't know how you do all the stuff that you do with the job and with family and going back to school. I think that's insane, and I think that's crazy, and you're crazy. But congratulations, and all the best.
Brandon, thank you very much for all that you do, and thank you for guiding your folks and having the maturity to listen to your staff and to help them help you help the rest of the department. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brandon. We hope you and your family are enjoying your vacation. So our last award of the evening is presented to the Police Officer of the Year. The Police Officer of the Year has made significant contributions to the department, but also to the community in the forms of continuing service and dedication. Take a look at our Police Officer of the Year.
I've nominated Joey for Officer of the Year because when I came into the SRA program as a supervisor, I didn't really know him, and I realized he was really a quiet guy. And then I got to see the body of work that he produced and the effect that he had on students that he worked with every day. Joey's one of those guys, he's been in SRA for quite some time, and he came in as a young officer into the school resource officer program, but he seems to really have matured and grown with his kids.
When you're talking about school resource officers, especially in the day and times that we live in, Officer Lance does an outstanding job with our students. He takes the time to listen to kids. There have been times when I've seen Lance come in with shoes for students, clothes. He'll get them lunch. Lance does a lot more than I've seen with school resource officers in the past.
Officer Lance's impact has been felt throughout the entire Dudley community. In his time here at Dudley, his calm presence has helped reduce suspensions here at Dudley High School. It also has helped reduce major incidences that are reported to the state. The way that he's able to just walk into a room, talk to a student, he builds trust with many of our students and some of our toughest students, which then has an impact into our school climate.
Officer Lance is a very good person. And when I say good person, you have to think about he has good character, he has good values, he shows selfless service on an everyday basis, honor, integrity, loyalty. And when I say a good person, I want you to really think about that, because he's a good person down to his soul. And being a good person down to your soul makes you a great police officer.
Joey, congratulations on this award. To me, you are the Officer of the Year. To the students at Dudley, you're the role model. To your co-workers, you're also inspiration. You actually show SROs what to do every single day by just being yourself. Congratulations.
I just want to say congratulations, Officer Lance. I am so excited, I am so proud, and it's truly been a privilege to work with somebody that is so committed to making a difference in the lives of our youth.
Joey, I think that you're very well deserving of this honor. You work hard, you come in, you find solutions, and it's an honor to be part of this process with you. You make my job so much easier, and as a supervisor, that's something that's not always easy to say.
You're getting this award because of me. Everything you know is because of me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Like I said before, it's long overdue. You deserve it. Congratulations.
When I think of school resource officers and I think of the qualities and characters of someone I would like to work with day in and day out, I think of Officer Lance. Again, great coworker, always here, prompt, is not afraid to answer a call, not afraid to talk to a student, to wrap his arm around them, to embrace them and say, hey, you know what, you made a mistake. That's the kind of people we need in education. Again, it's not about, how much money you make or what you do outside of school. It's the things that you do right here in this school, and you do a great job of what you do. And so for me, I just want to say it's Panther time, and congratulations to the best resource officer in not only Guilford County, but the state of North Carolina.
Don't go anywhere, Officer Lance. You can't leave yet, Officer Lance. Come back up. You need to get back up. So this award is provided by the family of David Taylor Jr., one of the department's fallen officers who we recognized earlier this week. Mrs. Taylor has asked retired Greensboro Police Assistant Chief Gary Hastings to represent the family. And I know he has something special to give to you. It comes with a cash award. He was ready to get off the stage. Did you notice that? Smile and all, he was ready to get off the stage. The minister at the beginning, in his prayer, said, he quoted Ecclesiastes, a time for everything. Well, now is your time to dance. You deserve it. You have worked long, hard hours. You have done incredible things for our community and made it a better place because of your efforts. So as a citizen of Greensboro, I join all others when I say, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
What a night. What an incredible night. I would be remiss if I didn't actually recognize my deputy chiefs. I think I omitted them in the program somewhere, but these are the four guys that actually helped me together to make up the senior management team: Deputy Chief Henson, Deputy Chief Cranford, Deputy Chief Ritchie, and Deputy Chief James. Thank you guys for all you do too. So Cindy's done run off. There we go. Cindy, thank you again for providing your personal flair, your ability, and the fact that I know for a fact that you have to get up in just a few hours and go to work. But you and Bill both support us, and I can't tell you enough how I appreciate it. She does a great job, doesn't she, folks? One more round of applause for her. I'm going to let you stay seated, and I'm going to bring this to you. These are a few little GPD things. There's one very special and near and dear thing in here that's really coveted. There is a patented GPD apron with our new grill system that we gave you. They're a limited edition. People are wanting them all over the place. I don't want to see this on eBay. Okay, thank you very much. All right, folks, we're almost over. I can't tell you enough. I appreciate everybody staying with us. It's been an incredible night. Police have long recognized that we cannot fight crime alone. All of you here tonight serve as a testimony to everything for us working together for making this city safer. We launched our Safer City Summit in January. It's quickly expanding. I'm very, very pleased to see that. We literally have hundreds of people in our community that are connecting about non-traditional ways to make our city safer. So we want to keep doing that. I appreciate all the hard work of the employees that we have at the GPD day in, day out. That's sworn, non-sworn, our fire partners, our 911 partners. I can't say enough about it. We are our one big team to make this city greater. I also want to reemphasize the gratitude to GMA for all you guys do to make this possible. It's an incredible event that I will tell you that I get to brag about the chiefs all across this state. and I couldn't be more proud of it. So the last folks I want to hit, and I'm not going to hit every one of them individually, there's an incredible GMA staff, there's an incredible GPD staff. It is a number of hands that make this come together, and I want to give one big round of applause for everybody who's behind this thing. So in just a second, our honor guard is going to retire our colors to officially end our program. That will be our last official act for today. I want to give you a couple of announcements. If you'd like to take some photographs, our CSI lead photographer, Jeff Hutchins, is here. We are going to be down in the Rotunda area. Please get pictures with your family, your loved ones. Secondly, I understand that the centerpieces have become very popular. Not with me, but apparently they're popular with somebody. I think they look great. That sounded bad the way they came out. Many people over the last couple of years have wanted them. There are 3 on each table. To find out, let's see what the secret code is. To find out if you can take one home, look on the back cover of your program. If you have a gold star, everybody looks, there we go. In the lower right-hand corner, you get a centerpiece. See, I knew I'd lose you when I talked about the centerpieces. So the last thing we'll do is I will ask our honor guard, commanded by Sergeant Mike Overman, to come forward and do their terrific job to go ahead and retire the colors. If you will, please let us do this last part of our ceremony, and then everybody have a safe night. Thank you. Please stand.